Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Elevate interview. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mike Schuessler, one of the most jacked dads you will ever meet, but he used to not be that way. So I'm excited to get into his experience and Elevate and his story a little bit here. Mike, what's up, bro?
What's up, brother?
Just glad to have you, dude. We're sipping some coffee here. I don't know if you got some coffee over there, but I do.
Dude, when you're a dad, you run on coffee. You always got coffee.
Speaking of fatherhood, brother, let's get into it. Father of two,
Yes,
and
sir.
just had a new one come along. So what's kind of father of two been like, brother?
Father of two. Um when the second one, so I've got a 2.5 year old, and our son is like I think he just hit 3 months.
Wow.
So the second one, the first one, you have no idea what you're doing. So like you can read all the books, you can take all the classes. You don't know anything until that baby is at your house, right? So you're figuring it all out, and it's a whirlwind. The second one, you know what to expect a little bit more, but now you also have a you have another one that still needs all your attention. So I would say the biggest the biggest challenge is uh it's trying to balance giving your newborn the attention that they need while also not making your other child feel like they're not there anymore.
Mm.
So it's fun, man. There is nothing like being a dad, dude. There's nothing like it. Nothing even remotely compares to it.
Love it, brother. I know you're an incredible dad. Whether it's showing or not in your day to day struggle here, but I know you're an incredible dad, and I'm just excited, dude. Like I know as Elevate continues to grow, and as I continue to grow, one day I'm gonna have a family. One day I'm gonna be a dad, and it's something that I extremely look forward to. And I'm just happy to have guys like you in the community to be able to stand on the shoulders of a guy like yourself and learn from you each and every day, and walk alongside you, bro. So let's get into to Elevate a little bit. First question I just like to ask, dude, is what made you join this internet community that you found on Twitter, bro?
Well, when I started my Twitter, my Twitter journey, Twitter story, whatever you want to call it, um, I would connect with people, um, and I would connect with people all over the country, and I ended up connecting with some people in the community, and I just I I fell in love with the community aspect of it, their stories, and everyone just felt to be on the same mission. It
Mm.
was, everyone was out to help each other, was out to help people, was out to um, just make a small difference in the world, and just go against the norm of what the world is saying. Work your 9 to 5 job, do whatever the world tells you to do, eat this, do that. Like I the Elevate community, they were a group of people that were pushing against that, and that's always fascinated me as to what the world's telling you to do. There's a reason they're telling you to do it. So when I get people who like push back on it, I'm always interested in it. I'm always interested into why. I'm always interested into, uh, the circumstances or the products of pushing back against what everyone is telling you to do. That just it always fascinates me. So when you find a group of men who are all on that page,
Mm.
man, I felt like we were all like when I joined and just started getting to know people, getting to know you, getting to know people like, Austin and Sam and Jake and just all the people that were in Ohio and JR and just all these dudes, every single person that I hopped on a call with, got connected with, like man, I hung up the phone and I was ready to run through a brick wall. Like every single one, like there was just something different about every single one of these people. And I felt like, and still feel like this community is literally just a bunch of dudes just arms locked together, just on a mission to break down these walls, change the world, and you know show people what what a leader should be, what a man should be, and as they grow into life, what a father should be, a husband. Like I feel
Mm.
like we get to lead from the front and show people kind of maybe what not everybody's seeing.
Amen to that, brother. And I love what you said about, like, I always call it the path less traveled. Like, we are guys all taking the path less traveled. We're going against the grain, whether it's starting a business or whether it's in today's world. If you step out into faith, like, that's now the path less traveled. It seems like countercultural as hell to say that you're a Christian or you believe in God. Like faith is now becoming countercultural to today's world. And but inside Elevate, it's a community of all faith-based men. Like, we are all pushing to grow closer to God, and we're all pushing to grow closer to each other and ourselves. So I always call that the path less traveled. And you're on an interesting path less traveled, for yourself. Up in northern Indiana, moved into a tiny home, got the second kid coming along, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going all in, starting a business to help serve dads to get in shape, which is something I just love to see. And real quick, shameless plug, if you're a dad listening to this, hit this guy up, hire this guy. He's going to get you jacked, and he's going to show you how to do it while still being able to be a husband and a father for your kids, because I mean, he's a living example. He walks the path every day. So that's something I want to talk about, though, of you taking this path less traveled. I know for me, I started this community because I felt isolated and alone. I felt like no one was taking this path. So what was your journey like before you joined, when you were trying to go against the grain? Did you feel alone? Did you feel isolated? And then what was the experience like after?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say I felt alone, but I didn't really feel like I had anybody with me. Like I felt like
Mm,
I was going, like I had my wife with me and she was supporting me, and I had like, people who I had connected with, and they were doing similar stuff, but it was more I was almost trying to follow them and just mimic what they were doing. Like
mm,
I would see what people were doing, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to do that. All right, well, this is working for so and so, so I'm going to try to do that. But now it's like, hey, all of us are doing this, instead of saying, hey, so and so's doing this. Let me do what he's doing, and see if that works. It's, hey, we are all doing the same thing. We're all like minded. We're all, um, on the same path. Let's do it together. Like, let me help you get to where you want to go. Like, hey, what's your aspiration for your life, your business? What is it? And let me help you get you there, instead of like, oh, this is what you want to do. Well, here, so and so did it that way. Try that. Hey,
mm.
you like look at what they did. Maybe that'll work. It's like, hey, let me help you. Let us all help each other, and let's go on this mission together. And like I said, it wasn't necessarily that um, I didn't feel alone, because I had been able to connect with a lot of people that were doing the same thing, and it was just more, oh, cool, so and so's doing the same thing too. Like, maybe we'll figure it out. But then when you get around people that are doing the same thing, but they want to help you as well, because in other places, other businesses, whatever it may be, it's, hey, I don't really want to give stuff away or help you, because me and you are in competition. You're trying to
Mm.
serve the same people I am, so you're taking away from my business. It's in here, it's like, dude, there's billions of people out there. I can't serve every one of them. Like, we need to all do it together. There's enough hands in the pile, enough people out there to be served. We're never going to run out of people to serve. And the more that we can lock arms and do it together, the more people we get to serve.
Amen to that, man. It's just that abundance mindset you're kind of talking about there. I know that we kind of isolate ourselves. So when you walk in that scarcity mindset of, oh, we're in competition here, like you said, there's billions of people out there. 75% plus of America is obese. Like if you're talking about the health space, just in that alone, and we can go even further than that. The people that need to find God, get healthy, become better men, become better dads. Like there's just so many people to help, and it's like we do need each other. And when you walk with that scarcity mindset, that's when you isolate yourself because you villainize everyone else. It's like, no, he's the enemy. Like I can't walk next to him. He's the enemy. He's the enemy. So that's when you really do isolate yourself. But then, like you said, it's almost like you're following them because you still are trying to pick up tricks of the trade from those people over there. So I absolutely relate to what you're saying. If you can understand that in my words here, I know exactly where you're at because I've been there. But I'm telling you, like, if someone can relate to what he's saying here, listening to this, like, it's so much better when you just understand that we are all here together on the same mission, and that's just to serve other people. And the more you help somebody else, the more you're going to get helped. Like, the more you give, the more you will receive. Like, that is the way. That is the way, in Christ. So continue to give, continue to receive. And I love that you're saying this, brother. But so let's dive into the House of Steel because I don't even recall that I knew you were coming to the House of Steel. Next thing you know, Mike's just like, "Yo, I'm here!" Like, just shows up, makes the drive up to Cleveland. And for those listening, the House of Steel was our deadlift event hosted in Cleveland, Ohio, at JR's gym last fall in October. And Mike just rolls up and he's like, "Yo, what's up, guys? Let's do this thing." So walk us through, brother. Like, what were your thoughts? Because I don't think we had met in person. I don't think you had met many guys in person, if any, at all at that time. You drive 5-6 hours and just show up. Take me through kind of what you were thinking about coming up.
Um, Man, I honestly I couldn't tell you what led up to it, but I knew that once like everything was set in stone. I think I was talking to Sam Burns, and he's like, "Dude, you got to come up." And I was like, "Man, I, I don't know if I can like get away that long and be away from the wife and kid. That like I just it's hard to do that." And I was like, "Man, Cleveland's only what 4 hours, 3 4 hours." I was like, "Man, I got to do it. I got to do it." So I figured it out. I you know, got off of everything, took the drive, and I had never met anyone. This is my first time really meeting anyone on Twitter in person, especially like all the people in the
Mm.
Elevate community. And man, I rolled up. I didn't know what to expect. There was a part of me that's like, dude, like I've been talking to these people, like I've talked on the phone with a lot of them. Dude, it'll be cool. And then there's another part of me that's like, whew, who knows what to expect. I could walk in and everybody'd be like, what are you doing here? But like I remember I pulled up and everyone is outside like just playing football, throwing the football around, just chatting it up. Like I walked in and just everyone just I mean it was like I saw everyone yesterday. Like they just up started talking to me, started talking to everyone like you immediately like I was there for 5 minutes and I was like, "All right, this is going to be the best weekend of the year." Like I driving up, man, like I said, I was nervous. I mean, meeting people that you've connected with online, you don't know what to expect. Everybody says like, "Oh, be careful who you meet online." Like, man, I walked in there and I felt like I had known everyone there for 10 plus years, and a lot of it is because when I had talked to these people, like when I had talked to Sam and Jr. and Austin and Matt and you and some of these people, like I had been talking to them for 10 minutes and we're already deep into our story.
Mm.
Like it wasn't it was very little shallow conversations like, "Oh, I live in so and so," like you know we had that kind of base level, and then almost every single conversation I had with some of these people, man, it was just immediately into where I came from, where my story's at, where my background is, where my faith comes from, like the struggles I've had in my life, like just immediate. And if you know me, I hate surface level conversations. like what's I mean, I just don't there's no point to them because we're not getting anywhere. You're not serving anybody like that. You're not, you're not helping anyone with these pretend fake my life is a bunch of, candies and roses kind of conversations. Like I want to know you, I want to know your story, I want to know where you come from because every single person's gone through stuff. Every person's got a story, every person has gone through trials, every person has seen the other side of struggle, and I love listening to it and I love hearing that about people. And every conversation that I had with some of these dudes, like, man, we were right into it. So when I,
Mm.
first see these people, like, it's like I said, I feel like I already know who they are without even meeting them. So whenever we met, like, it was just, man, these were my brothers that I have known forever. And there was, there was no like awkward get to know people. Like it was just immediate. Like, man, these are my dudes. Like these are my friends that I've known. It feels like forever.
What do you think cultivated that depth, those deep conversations?
I think I think a lot of it I think is just knowing. I mean, going into a conversation immediately knowing we're on the same mission. Like if I hopped on a call with you or Austin, and it was going into this call, going into these calls, I know, all right, this person I'm about to talk to is on the same mission as I am, and that's to help people and helping people the same way, which is one, health, nutrition, like leadership, like our faith. We were all similar in that instance, but a lot of it was I'm going to help somebody because I've gone through the same thing. Like I've gone through trials and struggles and depression, and I've gone through all that. So I can help people get through because I've been in your shoes. Like the people that I had talked to and connected with, I knew they were on the same mindset of I'm going to help people because of what I went through.
Mm.
So immediately going into that call, you're like, "Hey man, I want to know your story. Like I want to know what you've been through, where you come from, where your mindset comes from, why you're doing what you're doing. Like I want to know that." And it was just immediate like openness and vulnerability just right off the bat.
Mm. Vulnerability. I love that word. It's a word we use a lot inside Elevate. Vulnerability is our strength. But I want to touch on and highlight a fact of a lot of people, they ask me all the time, like, how do I develop deeper relationships? Like, I get this question so much. And one thing I'm hearing from you is self-awareness was taken from both ends. Like, you are self-aware in who you are, in your values, in your mission, and your struggles. Like, you've actualized your story, you've processed your traumas, you're able to communicate your story and your traumas and use those traumas as to fuel and refinement as to where you're going. Like a lot of self-awareness I'm hearing. And then when you jump on a call and you connect with somebody else who also has this self-awareness, I notice like a lot of times in shallow conversations that I try to take deeper with people, I have shallow conversations sometimes. They're just unavoidable at times. I think it's because I'll ask deep, hard questions, but people don't have the self-awareness to be able to answer with the depth. So they won't be able to take it there. So someone listening to this, like if you're looking for deeper conversations, deeper connections like Mike is talking about, well, number one, join Elevate. But number two, it's like get the self-awareness for yourself. What do you value? He's saying he knows when he gets on this call that the guy on the other end values serving others. He values family, he values faith, he values relationships. Like he's got his values laid out. He knows who he is as a man. He has the self-awareness. So first thing, if you want deeper connections like Mike's talking about, again, join Elevate. But number two, get this self-awareness about yourself. And then I realized like guiding people with deeper questions. And so I want to talk to you about that of like when you're in these conversations, when you're connecting with people, and you're not having these shallow conversations at the house is steel. Like What was the conversation like throughout that weekend? Because I know I walked into that Airbnb where all the guys were staying, and I just heard talks about God, talks about business, talks about trauma, talks about struggle. Like, what were the questions being asked? Like, what was the conversations like? And just overall that weekend, how much more connected did you feel to that group of guys?
Well, definitely. I mean, by the end, I mean, I felt like I knew them. I mean, more than some of the people I've known since like middle school. I
Wow.
mean, and to your point, I think part of it is you allow people to open up when you open up as well.
Mm,
Like I'm not gonna sit there and ask about your story and your trauma and all these things and how you overcame this and where your faith comes from and all this different stuff. If when you ask me, I'm like, yeah, man, like my life's great. Like, and that's just where I end it. Like, I have to be able to open up as well to let
mm,
you know and give you the confidence of, all right, man, this dude's opening up too, and he's been through some stuff. Like, he's, a lot of people see, the good side of social media and all the stuff you overcame, but they don't hear about the stories of you when you're in the midst of it. Like when you're in the thick of your depression, when you're in the thick of your trauma or your anger, whatever it may be. So when you open up about that to other people, it shows them, oh, this dude is just a regular human. Like, yeah, he believes in God and he reads his Bible and he does Bible studies and he talks about Jesus, but he's been through some stuff. And a lot of those conversations, man, and this is what like I love about this community and the conversations we has have is it's not hey man, like tell me what you've been through. It's how did how did God get you through that? Or
mm,
what did God show you? Or the situation you were in, what has God been doing to turn that situation into something good? Like how is God using that? Because we all go through stuff, and I don't I'm not necessarily a believer that God gives you trials and that God gives bad things to happen to you. You know, people get sick in your life or you go through stuff like, you grow up without a dad, grow up without a mom, grow up with, an angry dad. Like I don't think God makes you grow up without a dad, but God takes that situation and turns it into something good.
mm.
It's not God's fault that you grew up a certain way, but God can take that situation and turn it into something good. But to your question, I think it was just those questions were just they were detailed. Um, it was you know what what happened when when this situation happened, like how did that affect you? Like where do you think this came from? Or
Mm.
where does the way you handle certain situations, where does that stem from? Because everything that you do or say or how you feel, I think stems from something. um, but I mean, a lot of it was just realizing that um, a lot of it was just realizing that we're all broken. We're all broken people. We're all gone through stuff, and we need, especially men, man, we need people next to us. We need people locking arms with us and saying like, "Hey, man, like I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm walking with you. Like you're not weak for saying you got issues, but like we're gonna go through it together."
Amen to that, bro. I want to talk about the walk of faith inside Elevate a little bit here because I know we've been talking about God a lot. and I don't want that to intimidate anyone about joining. So I want to just get your take from a member, perspective. It's like if someone listening to this, maybe they don't know about God, maybe they haven't started in faith. Like what do you think their experience of joining would be, and how would they be met if they came in just vulnerable around like I don't even know about this God thing.
Yeah. First of all, you're gonna be you're gonna come in and you're gonna be talked to. You're gonna be listened to for who you are, not for what you believe. Um, I think it's important for people to know, and especially what I believe the Elevate community kind of represents is that we try to we try to treat people and talk to people and address people the way that I think Jesus would, and
Hmm.
see them how Jesus sees them, whether you're a believer or not. Like, Jesus loves you whether you love him or not. As a dad, that's one of the things, as being a dad, that I have realized and just come to the understood even more, is the amount of love that I have for my kids, whether they're acting crazy, whether if my daughter's not listening, whatever it may be. Like, I still love my kids more than anything, and that doesn't even compare to the love that our Father in heaven has for us. Like, it's not even a remote comparison. So anyone joining or thinking about joining or afraid because, well, I'm not a Christian, so I don't want to join a bunch of these dudes that are Christians and all they're going to do is push this faith on me, is that's not that's not what you're getting. You're going to get dudes who are open, who are honest, who struggle with their own faith. Like, people who lead Bible studies and in the middle of a Bible study will be like, "Hey man, like, I'm struggling with this right now." And it's everyday stuff. Like, I tell people all the time, and I know you've said it, man, just don't let Christians get in the way of who God really is
Hmm.
and who Jesus is and what Jesus thinks about you, because the perception, or maybe Christians that you've encountered, the negative ones, that's not the true representation of who Jesus is. And anyone who's debating it or confused, like, man, first of all, I would hop in just so you can get information, just so you can learn and ask questions, and not be judged for asking questions either.
Amen, man. It's just like we keep coming back to, like it's just that vulnerability. Everybody in here, they just come in, and whether you come in ready to be vulnerable or not, some people kind of come in and they put that toe on the ice. They kind of put the toe on the ice as we'd expect. Like no one's gonna expect you to come diving in and sharing your biggest struggle and your deepest, darkest secrets. Like that's not an expectation at all, and nothing's forced upon you to do that. We just come in and it's, hey man, what's your story? Who are you? We'd love to just get to know you and come around you and support you and whatever that looks like for you. So, dude, this has just been a blast. But two more questions I got is just, what is your favorite thing about Elevate? I love asking this question just to see just your favorite aspect of it, favorite part, favorite thing that's happened, like just favorite thing about Elevate.
I would say there's two things. One is obviously the people. Man, there is just nothing like a community of people who are on the same wavelength as you, the same mission as you. They're on the same road as you, and just to support you for where you're going. I don't care whether you want to be, the CEO of your job you're at, or whether you want to, um, start your own entrepreneurship business, like everyone's there to support you to do what you're on mission for. And the second thing, this is just me personally, is I love that I get to be a an example, or I get to be a help for men who aren't dads yet,
Mm,
because that's something I never really had. I never had, like, when I was trying to be a good person, if you will, uh, and I was trying to ready myself for whoever I was going to meet, whoever my spouse was going to be, or trying to ready myself for whenever I had kids. I was kind of just figuring it out by myself. I was on my own. I was just going based on what I thought a good husband was supposed to be, and never reached out to anyone, never had someone walk me through stuff. So I love that I now get to be that for people who, like, not necessarily talk about it every single day, but people who have questions. Like, I have that experience and that ability to be like, hey man, like, I've been I've been married, I have two kids, like, I can walk you through that. And I can, like I said before, I love having deep, vulnerable, like, serious conversations. So I like telling people stuff that isn't necessarily the cookie cutter answers, like things that people aren't going to tell you. The parts of marriage that are freaking hard, the parts of being a parent that are freaking hard.
mm,
Like, being married is hard, having kids is hard, being a parent is hard, but some people won't tell you that. Some people will either say, "Oh, it's great, you'll love it," or they'll say, "Well, your life's over." But, like, you will love it, but it's also freaking hard. And people don't want to realize that. They want to just tell people, either, like I said, "Oh, your life's over," or they'll just say, "Oh, you'll love it, it's gonna be great." And then you get to a hard part and you're like, am I doing something wrong? Because no one told me it was going to be awesome and hard.
mm.
They just said it was going to be awesome. And right now, in this day, right now, it's not awesome. And you will experience that. But like I said, it's it's cool to be around a group of dudes that are in the same that have the same mindset, on the same mission as you.
Yeah, so I mean, last question I got, brother. I mean, this has all just been incredible. I appreciate you just being real, being vulnerable, being authentic. Like, and that's exactly what you're gonna get. Over 100 guys just being real, being authentic, being vulnerable. Mike being one of those guys, and I'm just so grateful for you, dude, because I know I continue to lean on you and your courage more than you know, more than you understand. I think a lot of guys don't understand how much I really pull from them. When I'm doing things like the Goggins, or just struggling in my day to day, or looking forward to being a dad, or trying to build myself up to be a good husband or father one day. Like, I'm absolutely pulling inspiration and courage from a guy like you every single day, brother. So I just want to thank you for that. But my last question is, someone listen to this. This all sounds great. They're thinking about joining. Like, just what would your advice to them be?
Stop sitting on the sidelines. Stop
Mm,
stop observing and looking from afar. Because if you wait for a month, you're wasting a month of growth. You're wasting a month of help. You're wasting a month of, you know, friendships, community. You're wasting time. You're just going to be that far behind. So quit sitting on the sidelines and watching.
heard it here first. Get in the game. Come join us. We'd love to have you. Part of our Bible studies, events, challenges, calls. Come meet a guy like Mike. Come talk to Mike about fatherhood, about being a husband, about what that ride's been like for him. He's going to welcome you with open arms, just as we all are. So we'd love to have you. And I just want to personally invite you, like, if you listen to this thing, If you love Mike's story, go hit Mike up. If you are a dad and you want to get in shape, like hire this guy. I'm telling you, there's no better guy on this planet that's going to get down in the trenches with you. It's going to be real, going to be authentic, and it's going to just serve you exactly where you're at. He's going to provide you all the information and everything you need to get in shape. Come join us, connect with Mike, connect with myself, and let's just level up together. Peace and love, y'all.
Love you, brother.